Hi everyone, Leslie Ray here today with a Tuesday tutorial by Digital Delights. Today I'm going to share with you a marker technique that is reminiscent of George Seurat's modern art technique called Pointillism. Only I'm going to do it with markers. And for this project you'll need Splish Splash Susie, the Get Better digital paper pack to help finish off your card, cardstock, Bic markets or your choice of markers, foam tape, and embellishments. Let's get started. What we're going to do is a technique that involves creating all these fantastic little dots, and you can do it to make textures like in the umbrella, and for doing your shadowing, but also for doing this big shadow around the edge. I'm going to show you how simple and easy this is to do. So for this project, you're going to want to kind of base color, like I already have here, your project. And you're going to want to have available a collection of large and small nibbed pens. And I'm using the Bic markets, but you can also do this with your Copics, with your Sharpies, with your Pro markers, with your Spectrum Noir markers, whatever. And then I also have a coordinating marker. Since Bic markets are limited in their range of colors, I've chosen a red-orange to kind of go with my red for these parts here. A kind of russet yellow. This one is called Moonstone Yellow to go with my lemony yellow. And then a variety of blues to kind of give a gradation of textures. And then I have some grays. I have my Cloud 9 gray, which I love, love, love. And then I also have the Stone gray, which is a little bit darker gray. And I'll show you how these work together. What you want to do to get started is decide where you want to do this technique. I want to show you how to do it on the umbrella, like I did on mine. And then also I want to show you how to do some highlighting down here, or shadowing rather, and then how to get the pattern that goes around. So the easiest is to start with the big dots and work small and work in your area. And even though I've colored this normally, now I can go back in, because alcohol markers, when you use them, they react to themselves. So with all your alcohol markers, you will be able to do this same kind of thing because it's alcohol ink on alcohol ink. So even though initially that centerpiece was not done in Pointillism style, you can see just going over and doing some small dots with a light hand, you start to get that texture of Pointillism. And so once I've done each of my sections, the next thing I'll do is come back with the orange color and make another set of pass at this with orange dots. Now for this project I chose to do the small orange pen instead of starting with a large orange pen. If I had started with the large nib of the orange pen, the orange would take over more that section, and while this is going to change the color of this section just a little bit, it won't change it significantly as if I had used a large orange pen. Now I'm going in and putting a little bit of dots. And I'm just, in my own mind, I'm just kind of working in a circle, like little loopies, but with dots. And so already, you can tell the difference in this first one here versus this other one over here. Let me raise my light a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about better, maybe. the color takes on a little bit deeper hue. And I just keep working in the same kind of pattern to make this texture like I have on the umbrella. You can start seeing how it's shaping up. I'll come over here to this last one. And then finally, after I get this orange in here, I'm going to go back in with my red pen, my small red pen, and go back over the top. You can see how this is starting to shape up. So this will need more dots of red, and again, more dots of red. I'm going to go on to the blue and kind of show you how that works. Again, starting with a large blue pen. Now, you could have filled the whole umbrella with your dots instead of having a base color to start with. It is really up to you. And it depends on how long you want this to take. This process could take all day if you were filling your whole digi in with dots everywhere. Or you could do a quick color over and then come back and highlight with your dots. And so for this, I have the matching color and then a lighter color. So I want to go in first with my matching color. And then follow up with my lighter color. And because it is alcohol ink, the places where you put the lighter color, you will start seeing a lighter color show through. So, isn't that neat? I love how that works. So, rather than keep on going across, I want to show you how to use the gray pens with the areas to do your shadows. Normally, I would take my Sky Cloud Gray, or Cloud 9 Gray, sorry, and I would go around the edges tracing to make my shadows. Instead, I'm going to use my pen to come in and do that work for me. And so I'm going to do just a little bitty delicate line through here along the bottom of her coat. And you could also, with the Copics, if you have the lighter colors that take the color back away, you could go, like the blenders, you could go back in with lighter. And then you can, where you know the pleat would make a little shadow right there, go in there. Same here, like that. And how the skirt would normally make a little shadow under her knee and above her boot, and then here where the internal of the boot is. And I'm just dotting ever so gently. I'll show you this here just one minute. Let me get across her legs. And like the lip of the boot right here. I'll show you that part. And you can see how that just adds that subtle bit of highlight and shadow to give a little more depth around her legs. Again, you can do the same thing around the arms and her hands. And around her collar. Just to add a little depth there. Make it look a little more three-dimensional. Okay, now those are two of my favorite easy ways to do. Now let me show you how to get this full range. I think that's what people were worried about and are asking about. And I tend to be a little tight around mine. You can get as loose as you want. The key to it, in my opinion, is to always use like your neutrals, your grays, but then bring in the colors that you actually used in the piece to get that confetti kind of look to your pointillism. I think it adds just a nice touch. So I want to start with my two gray pens. I'm going to start with my big Cloud 9 gray with my dots and just go all the way around my outline of my girl. And while I'm doing this, I'm not worried so much about keeping it in a straight line. And in fact, there are places where I've gone outside and made a little divot here or there. But make sure you're getting a pretty genuine complete line around the outside. Okay? And just follow along. I'm going to do one side of her for you in this demo, and then you can refer to the photo to see how I finished her off. But I go around each of the little things. While I was working earlier, I didn't dot across this blue, but I will because it is further behind. If you wanted to have fun with your shadows and make this look more humped, you could do a little gray line along those edges of those lines with your skinnier pen. And then around your flowers. I'm going to go all the way down this pole of the antenna of the umbrella. Okay. I'm going to work on this side, okay? So next, I'm going to come back in with my darker. And I could do the darker big dots, but I'm going to stay with the small right now. And just by adding, I'll show you this real quick. Just by adding a little bit of dark right there, you start seeing your pointillism technique taking off. Okay? And if you have any holes, like I had a hole right there, fill it with a dot. The line that is directly touching your digi, you want it to have the most color next to it. And you can start getting looser as you put your colors in. let your color float out into the white space. Some artists like to carry this to cover the whole area around. So instead of keeping it close, they would have filled the whole white space. It's really up to you, the kind of look you like. There is no right or wrong to this. And in my opinion, it's very freeing. You want to make your dots stay up and down. You don't want them to be real, to have little tails on them. You want to try to keep that to a minimum. If you start seeing that, usually that's a sign that A, you're going too fast, or B, you've turned it and they start, instead of coming at it up and down, you're coming at it at an angle. Okay, and then next we'll go in with some yellow. And I specifically want to make sure I have yellow next to where there is yellow. But I still would keep it carried on up to other parts of the outfit and other colors of the digi. You just kind of want to echo the colors in your digi that you've colored. Probably in this, the only colors that I won't add are like the browns that I put in her hair or the peaches that I put in her skin. I won't put those in my confetti dots along the edge. Definitely adding in red. I think red always looks striking in this. But if you stick with colors that you've put in your digi coloring already, that is the best, because your eye will recognize that those should be there. Whereas if you introduce some other colors in at this time, your eye will automatically be drawn straight to them, and the rest of your dotting will kind of fall by the wayside, because your mind will be going, oh, what's that color? And just come over to it instead of giving you a benefit of the doubt of this being some Pointillism confetti colors. And I'm coming back through with the blue that I used, and I will even come back through with the lighter blue. This is the lighter blue coming in. And at this point, I'm kind of happy with what I got, but I would like to have a little more of the gray dots coming out. So I'm going to come back with the lighter color. Let me pull this up to you so you can see it better. You can see how it's going. I want a little more gray to come out from the edge. So that's where I'm going to go back to as my light gray, but this time instead I'm going to get my smaller pen. And this is my Cloud 9 gray. And now I'm kind of pulling out from the edge where I started with the gray and bringing it a little further out, leaving a couple little white spaces in there. But the nice thing with the dots is visually your brain reads as, oh, okay, this is now out here instead of right here. You could do this with larger pens, if that is your preference, with maybe a lighter hand than the first round I went through. You want to be careful not to work in any one area too much because you could muddy that area, and you don't want to do that. That's the importance of leaving some white space, in my opinion. So there you go. And I'm pretty happy with that. You might want to come out and add a little more looseness, but I'm pretty happy with that for myself. At this point, it becomes your taste, what you think. For this one, I did kind of ground my little girl. I gave her a little bit of a echo of her umbrella coming down. But to finish it off, I just misted some little ribbon roses and added to the front with a little simple leaf, and mounted it on some Get Well paper cardstock and striped pattern paper that goes with that. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial and you better understand how to get the texture techniques that come in with Pointillism for shadowing around your clothes and around your digi stamps, but also getting these neat little textures that you can get with them. So just another coloring technique that I hope you enjoy. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Next week, Christine will be back with a delightful tutorial, and I can't wait to see what she has. Thank you. Have a wonderful night.